Recording in three, two, one. Oh, it already is. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to episode 3 of the Dumb and Drummer podcast. I am Jeff Gonzalez, joined by my co-host Brett Ryan, and our guest today is Eric Somers-Urrea. Do I have that? Do I have the pronunciation on that right?
It's Urea, but yeah, that's fine with
Urrea.
me. I'm
Ah,
not
got
too
it.
picky and not too picky.
Okay, all right, got you. So let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself and who are you? What do you do? Why are you so cool?
Oh man, I don't know about that last bit, but no, I'm a drummer. Obviously, I've been playing for about I would say, geez, almost 20 years at this point. Um, I grew up just a super band nerd and did band all through high school, and ended up majoring in classical music in college. And then ever since I've just been a gigging drum set player, uh, playing a band called Marina City, and then I do a lot of teaching as well, which I also really enjoy.
Nice.
So yeah,
So it's been kind of a challenge with the pandemic and everything for the band, right? Because you guys had some good momentum going on, like Warp Tour and
yeah. It's
whereabouts do you live again?
I'm based in Chicago,
In
and
Chicago. Okay.
yeah,
So the
and all
music
my
scene's
bandmates.
pretty tight there.
Yeah, it's actually it's a really good particularly it's a really good alternative rock, and like the pop punk scene here is really strong.
Mm.
And we came sort of out of the pop punk scene, even though we're not really like a pop punk band. Especially now, we're sort of a sellout pop band.
Okay.
um but no, that I mean, we're super lucky coming from Chicago. It's a beautiful music scene here. But yeah, I mean, the pandemic definitely came at a rough time for us. We had literally just put out an EP like
Ah.
the week before lockdown started. So we have like this EP worth of songs that we're so proud of and we're so excited to play live, and uh no dice.
And did you get to play on it at all? Like even a show or anything?
We did like a small sort of industry type invite only
Hmm.
release party. And we did like a sort of stripped down set. And a lot of these songs like we've had for a little bit, so we had the opportunity to play a lot of them, but it was a bummer because I feel like our fan base hasn't had the time to like really appreciate them.
Ah.
But uh but we're lucky. I mean, there's definitely like our fans have definitely been super cool about it, and like they've stuck by us through genre changes, and uh they've been good to us.
Awesome. Yeah, well, you definitely kept the spirit alive. I'd say I've been following you for the better part of the last year, and what you post on the Warp Tour clips, the throwbacks. I know you've done a live stream. Now you're doing play alongs to the tracks on YouTube, getting into
Oh yeah.
YouTube. So kudos, man, because I mean, that's all we can do is keep the dream alive.
Oh,
I
for
mean, it's
sure.
definitely not going and playing gigs. I mean, that's just not an option. So we got to do what we got to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. That's like all of our favorite thing to do, play
Yeah,
live shows.
yeah, for sure, for
Or even
sure.
just be in like the same room as people jamming, and not have to worry
Oh,
about being 6 feet away behind a plexiglass screen and all that.
Yeah, like what is
absolutely.
that your face? Like I put the mask back on. Like you're scaring me. Your face has gotten worse over time. The pandemic
Right?
has affected your face. So I'll kick it off here. Tell us your background and how you originally got started on drums. You said you've been playing for about 20 years.
Yeah, so yeah, 20 years now. I kind of started playing drums a little bit late compared to most of the people that were around me. Um Before I played drums, I did a lot of visual art, so I was really into drawing. I was always kind of an artistic kid. And then I discovered drums and was just like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Hmm.
um so I think it was around 7th grade, so however old you are in 7th grade was when I really like started. And most people start band in 4th grade. So I came in not knowing how to read music, knowing nothing about classical percussion, and it was a really rough time for those first 2 years. And I really wanted to quit, but my parents were like, "You're not getting a drum set unless you do band." And I thank them every day for it because it was huge for me. Um, and then I would say once I got to high school and just like suffered through seventh and eighth grade band, doing drumline was like the one thing that really turned the tides for me. I started to see the competitive aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
which I really enjoyed. And it wasn't like butting heads competitive. It was just like friendly competitive. What's the craziest thing you can play? And kind of bouncing those ideas off of friends. And then it became more of a community around my drummer friends, and we all kind of built each other up in high school. And it was from there I decided drums were the only thing I cared about and was really good at. So I decided to take the jump and study it in college.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Music major, percussion focus or something in college, I assume then.
Yeah, music major. I did and this was a weird choice too, because I'm sure most drum set players, especially as I really like have always kind of identified as like a drum set player primarily.
Mm-hmm.
But I went into college with the mindset of like I wanted to never have to say no to a gig. So if someone was like, "Hey, we need you to play marimba," I didn't want to be like, "Well, I don't know how to do that." So I really tried to take the time to focus on what I was worst at. So that was sort of the method behind my college major.
Nice. And transitioning into like bands, live music. Did you play at church or anything like that to kind of ease into it, or?
No, I had always had bands with friends in high school. We didn't really have much of a local scene when I was a kid, which is weird because like towns over from me would have really strong local scenes that would play at like real venues. For us, it was always like basement shows, and we all wanted to sound like really crappy versions of Queens of the Stone Age.
Nice.
But it was a good time, and I had a couple probably even crappier bands in college. But like once I graduated, I was like, okay, I'm gonna like really try this just hyper focused drum set only thing.
Nice.
So I jumped on Craigslist and auditioned for a few bands, and Marina City was like the first group of dudes that I like really started playing with.
Awesome.
Right after I graduated.
Craigslist is the absolute best place to find.
It's amazing,
bands, in my opinion. Found
it's
like
so true.
3 major bands on there for sure.
Yeah.
Right on. I have not had the same luck with Craigslist. That's why as soon as you said Craigslist, I was like, really? I might just be my area, but I have not had the same luck on Craigslist looking for people to either jam with or projects to join or something.
Wow.
Well, it's tough, man. I feel you. I definitely got super lucky. I mean, I should say we're all pretty lucky going through Craigslist, and we all have all our limbs and kidneys. So
right. It is a gamble. Meet me at this rehearsal spot that.
Yeah.
That one in like the really dark alley that like has no lighting. Okay, sure.
Just keep going.
Let me just bring my expensive gear down that way.
Yeah.
No kidding. It's definitely risky. But no, it was funny because I remember. Oh man, I was such a nerd. Like I literally sent a resume to people.
Oh
like,
wow.
So lame.
Professional about it.
Like looking back on it, I don't know how anybody ever responded to my to my emails.
You're like, what? Let's hire this nerd.
Yeah, seriously, it was so humiliating. But no, I think it was funny though because I like my Craigslist rule is I try and stay away from anybody who uses the word jam.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah,
I can't do
that's
it.
the kiss of death. Yeah. Absolutely.
People jam with.
Yeah.
No.
I think if you go in with that filter, it helps a little bit.
I don't have time to jam. Yeah. Sorry. You want to grab the next one, Brett?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So, what are your biggest drumming related goals right now? What are you personally working towards?
Oh man, this is a good question. So for me, what I do is I try and have a new goal that I focus on, like for the year.
Okay.
So in the past, like the last one I was really focusing on was really working on flow and to try and work on linear chops and all that stuff. And it was something that like I literally had no idea how to do 2 years ago. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, I feel generally comfortable with it. Obviously, there's still lots of work to be done. But I think this year I'm like really focusing on timing. So I've been really inspired, especially as most drummers I think have been lately, with the sort of Dilla swing flow that everyone's trying to do, and just the way people have been working on manipulating space. So like Brody Simpson's a perfect example of just someone whose timing is just so in control, even when it sounds sloppy. So it's something that I really want to get in tune with.
That style. I know what that style of playing is still hard for me to wrap my head around sometimes. Like when it starts getting really crazy with the times, and it's like, is it still a beat at this point? And then it comes back around, and you're like, oh, okay, it is.
It's so tough. Like the big thing that I'm trying to like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I cannot do this stuff. But
I think
but
you might be
it's
selling
like,
yourself a little short on that.
well, it's weird because I feel like for me, I'm such like a really brainy thinker about drums. Like
Yeah.
I come at it very mathematically.
You're pretty exacting about your stuff.
Yeah, I really.
I mean
try
that in
to
a good
be.
way, like your pad stuff. I mean, it's very.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
It's very well thought out and very comprehensive.
Thank you. That means a lot. And I think like, yeah, I always find myself, I come from like a very methodical approach. So to go sort of off meter is really tough for me. So like my brain automatically goes, oh, well, everything should be sloppy. So do I play fives? Like, but it's literally like Nate Smith describes it as like you turn the swing dial on a drum machine.
Yeah.
And trying to get my brain to do that is just an uphill battle.
Have you played around with the Groove Scribe at all?
No.
Mike Johnson's thing. There's a swing. You can set the swing up to 100 on it.
Ooh.
And it
All
says I call it the Matt Garska meter.
Okay.
So because the more you turn it up, the more the notes seem discombobulated, but it always hits exactly on beat one.
That's crazy.
I mean, it literally sounds like you're adding Garska or taking it away. Like you can make the most simple beat like sound incredibly like just mind-boggling, and then you look at the transcription, you're like, man, this is like 4 on the floor with some swung hi-hat or something like that, and then you swing the swing, and it's crazy. But yeah, and then on Brody, not to get off too much off on a tangent here, but
yeah,
Brody's amazing. He uses a lot of really cool plugins though too.
He does.
Which I've been asking him about on his page, to get that little boing on the bell.
Oh yeah,
and stuff like that. Like a lot of that is the plugins and how he mixes his tones, and he uses the A and F drum, those really really awesome custom drums.
His sounds are just next level. That it's like infuriatingly good.
It's I mean, he doesn't do anything fancy. I mean, his playing speaks for itself. It's very awesome.
Super true.
So as far as let's talk about Instagram following. So when I started following you, I think you had around 10,000, and now you have around 15, 16?
I think oh man. Knowing the exact number is so painful to me. I feel like a narcissist.
Why?
But it's actually it's 17 now.
Oh, did you just cross 17? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we did.
You can't see it on the video, but we'll give you the congratulatory icon to stroke your ego there, big man.
I swear I'm not too much of a narcissist.
I mean, that's a whole. We could dedicate a whole nother episode to talking about likes and followers and all the ways you measure success on Instagram and stuff like that. But
right.
I was just curious, like, going from 10 to 17 in approximately a year is a huge milestone. So what do you attribute that to?
I mean, honestly, this year has been really wild, and it actually, like, I would say this time last year, I was probably closer to like 5 or 6 thousand. Um,
Really?
yeah, it was, and I mean, like, I was happy with those numbers at the time, but really, like, pandemic has just forced me to dive into a world that I had just sort of dipped my toes into. Um, I've always like really loved the Instagram drummer community, and the, you know, like, Instagram is where I go to get just all of my inspiration. You know, I'll watch Ash Sohn videos and Brody Simpson, and my saved list is all drummers. The only people I follow are drummers and
Mm-hmm.
like some other visual artists, but it's my inspiration platform. So I've always wanted to like crack into that just because it's what I sort of seek out. So I guess at the start of the pandemic, Instagram started to fill that void of playing shows a little bit, where I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna dedicate myself to making fun content that I enjoy doing, and be really consistent about it and see what happens. And fortunately, people have really responded to it, and I feel super lucky. I don't know. There's 1,000 better drummers than me, but
But I think you said the key words though. There was you're doing something that you enjoy consistently,
yeah,
and I think that's because I think if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it consistently. And then I think I think to a degree, people like seeing people do something they enjoy, and watching your videos, you can tell that you love your craft, you love what you do, and you're good at it. And so, and the more consistently you put it out, more people, it's just by nature, more people are going to see it.
yeah. Well, thank you. That seriously means a ton. I really appreciate hearing that. And I think, but I think you're really right. Like, I feel like music in general, the big thing is that you should enjoy it, and the second thing
Sure.
is you should put out stuff that you would want to see. You know, it's whether you're in a band, you should write the music that you want to hear.
Yeah.
Whether you're a drummer on Instagram, it's putting out the content that I would want to see. Like, I'm sure you guys have experienced, like, oh man, my favorite drummer has an Instagram, and then you go to their page and it's like just pictures of their dog, and you're just like,
Yep.
I mean, this is sick, but I wanted to see just you practicing. So I tried to be that for whatever lunatic thinks I'm good at drums.
Well, I think I definitely agree with Brett that the humility factor is like half of it, and the other half of it is like I'm doing what I want to do for me, and I think that's
Yeah.
what draws people in because there are like what's up with the paint guy, man? Come on.
Oh yeah. I
What's
know
up
what
with
you're
the paint
talking
guy?
about. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I get it. I mean, I mean, there's things you can do
Yeah.
where and maybe that's his calling and that's his art.
Yeah.
And again, not to get off tangent and not to throw somebody under the bus, but like that gets a lot of attention.
It does.
And we've all been in a spot where we're like, hey, if I played a lot of foot cam stuff and a lot of fancy
Mhm.
double bass stuff or a lot of fast chops or stuff like that, then it would get more views. But I think it's really cool you bridge that gap between like, okay, this is really interesting content, but this is also like you're living your truth, for lack of
Mhm.
a better term. That you're being
Yeah.
true to yourself as a musician while you're doing it.
And I think that's definitely something I struggled with for a second, especially when it came to Instagram. Like, for a little bit I really wanted to do covers because I felt like you sort of had to, but like, I just, it didn't speak to me in the same way, and I don't feel like that's really my lane. There's people who
Yeah.
do that and they do it really well. So I had to take a step back and be like, well, I'm an educator. I like teaching, and I also just like goofing off and trying weird grooves, and I like writing music. So like, I tried to skew my post towards the things that I like doing. And I also want to be like available for anyone who wants to learn. So
Mm-hmm.
I hope that I have made a presence that's somewhat accessible for anyone who's like, hey, this dude's style of playing where they can reach out and ask me, hey, how'd you play that one fill? And I will talk your ear off about it, or
Awesome.
tell me about your gear. I'm down to nerd out.
Hell yeah. Baller.
I love that. Yeah, you want to take the next one, Jeff? Or
I think I got the next one. You're up.
okay. Oh yeah, you did get that next one. So you're yeah. Right now, you were doing a lot with your band Marina City. Is there anything you guys have planned for just coming up soon or post pandemic when things start getting back to normal? Anything you have tentatively planned?
We well, by the time this comes out, I'm sure we will have released all 3 of our trilogy of singles. Excuse me.
Edits.
The newest one is going to come out this Friday, April 9th. And that will be the last of these 3 singles. And then following that, we're going to have an EP coming out, hopefully late summer.
Nice.
But certainly this year, at some point. We're trying to work out some touring plans, but everything's a little bit too up in the air still.
I know some people are planning tours like very tentative, like they're booking them, but they're like, hey, just keep watching because this may not happen.
Well, isn't Bonnaroo like coming up in September or something like that?
Yeah, Bonnaroo just got announced. I have my eyes on Lollapalooza here in Chicago. I've gone every year for like 12 years. So
you're gonna really hate me then, because in 2008 I saw Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, I was there.
What? I was there. Tell me you've been to a better show than that.
I mean, to me that same year was Nine Inch Nails, which is my all-time favorite band. So
well, I mean, you came at the same show.
Yeah, so I mean that year of Lollapalooza though was
the
1,000% the best.
But yeah, I saw Blues Traveler, like John Popper, like in person. I know that's a total step in the other direction, but he is an amazing musician.
Oh,
be able to sing, but it's the cocaine. Like that dude scored so much blow. Yeah, I mean, he's got it because, and the guitar player he had with him. I mean, I saw Lupe Fiasco.
Oh yeah, he was right before Rage, right?
I missed Kanye because they played at the same time as Nine Inch Nails, and that wasn't even a question. But that was when I was really starting to get into like Graduation.
Right.
Like I still think that album is just gold. So yeah, Lollapalooza, you being that close, I'm very jealous. But I mean, at the same time, it's like music festivals and a pandemic just are like,
yeah,
kind of scary.
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant on even if I'd want to go if it comes back this year, but we'll see. It's a weird time too because I feel like optimistically, I think September might be okay, but
yeah,
late July is like
might be a little
too on the cusp, I think. But
yeah,
we'll see.
Got it. All right, so let's talk about gear. So I know you. Well, I'm not going to lead you on or anything like that. What if you had to pick 2 of your absolute favorite pieces of gear? What would they be?
Ooh, this is so tough.
You can't squeeze in a third one either. Don't be cheating. It's just 2.
All right, I'm going with my 6.5 by 14 Gretsch full range rosewood snare. I love that thing.
I never even heard of rosewood.
I know it's a really weird. I don't think I've never seen anyone else use this drum, but I totally love it. And it's my baby. It's stuck with me for like 8 years now.
Awesome.
And then I man, you're killing me with this question. Brutal.
I wish I could have predicted and told Brett so you don't think I'm making it up, but I think I know what the other one is.
Okay. All right.
And I'll be honest, but you got to tell me if I'm right.
Okay. Are you gonna say it first or should I say it?
Well, no. Then you go. Well, should I say it first?
Okay, someone plug their ears and then tell me.
I got it. I'll go. Okay. All right. It's my 22-inch Sabian HHX complex thin ride. He knew it. He knew it.
I should have said it first, but then it would have seemed fake either way. I could have said it and you're like, oh my God, you're right. And then we would have never known. But I remember when you got that symbol because you made a post and you're like, oh, I've been eyeballing this for so long and I finally pulled the trigger and I know how passionate you are about Sabian and stuff like that. And there's just something about all that brass, man.
Oh,
I mean, I think I'm right there with you. There's just, I mean, the drums. I feel like they just come and go. Like, I mean, yeah, I
true.
love my drums, but all that metal, it just.
I know.
Who said that? I think Chad Smith said that. He's like, I know it sounds stupid, but I play better when I'm on stage, when I have all these brand new pies, when I have all this shiny brass. He's like, I play better.
That's legit. I feel that.
I'm like, I agree. I feel that in my core for sure.
And man, it's hard to even just pick one symbol.
Oh yeah, I need a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like the other symbols would be upset.
I know. They're next to me. I'm sure they heard me.
Brett, do you even use any wood drums? Are you all acrylic?
Currently, no. I'm all
Oh.
acrylic.
That's baller.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the kit, and it's a little bit of a pain to tune, but it sounds really good in the low range. My only complaint was I brought it on tour, and the bass drum weighs about as much as a whole wood kit.
Oh man.
So that was my mistake, bringing that out with cases and everything, and not really thinking about how heavy the entire thing was.
I thought the acrylic drums are
We're still
lighter.
playing clubs, so I'm hiking this thing upstairs.
Oh
Oh
no,
man.
I thought they're lighter.
No, they are heavier. They are much heavier.
That's I thought the same thing. I thought they would be lighter.
No, they're more dense than wood. So they, honestly, I wish I could tell you like how much the bass drum weighs, but I picked up the bass drum and then picked up just a regular Tama bass drum, and I was like, this is significant. It's not even like, oh, it's a little heavier. You're like, crap, this is a lot heavier than the just a regular wood kick.
But you'll be sorry, I'll edit this out, but I just got a GIF from Zoom that the time limit was removed, so we no longer have a time constraint.
I just got that.
I was like, okay, but I'll edit this out. But yeah, if you want to get ripped, I guess. But I mean, I had a pork pie acrylic kit that was light as fuck, man. I mean, the hardware weighed more than the drum shell. Man,
I've never played an acrylic kit before, so I don't know. Maybe my shells are thicker or something than that.
I think it has to be. It's the pearl.
The crystal beat, yeah.
Crystal beat. Those look so fucking sweet, man. That's awesome.
Acrylic kits look so nice.
Back to the questions. All right, you got the next one, Brett?
So yeah, okay. So in your when I've seen your videos, I love seeing you rock the backwards rack toms.
Yeah.
Putting, what is that, like? Is that a 12 or a 13 in front of a 10?
Yeah, it's a 12 and the 10. Yeah.
So I what got you to start doing that, and how much does it affect your playing?
Oh man, I get this question all the time, and it's so funny. I think first of all, I've always sort of gravitated towards slightly unconventional setups.
Okay.
So if I'm being totally transparent with myself, it's probably just because I want to look different.
You just wanted something different. You just didn't want the regular old the big medium, well, or small, medium, large.
That's not all the reason, but I'm sure deep down in my brain that is a factor that I don't want to admit as much. But the real reason was I was rocking 1 up, 2 down for a very long time.
Okay.
And I still love that setup.
That's what I'm currently doing.
It's so fun.
It's easier to stand on your toms when you have an extra floor tom, isn't it?
Also true. If you're into that sort of thing.
I mean, who does that? Who does that gimmicky shit anyway, right?
Yeah, right? People need to chill out. But I did a tour for like a pop punk band, and I just did a 3-piece for like a month or a month and a half, whatever, how long the tour was. And I was just like, this is the life. Like, I don't need the extra floor tom. 3 pieces.
Oh, 1 up, 1 down?
Yeah, just 1 up, 1 down. Or sorry, 4-piece. I don't know why I said 3-piece. But yeah, just regular 4-piece setup, 1 up, 1 down, and I was just loving it. It just felt so clean, so simple. And then when I got back from that tour, I just really wanted to keep that same setup. But the only thing was, with my band, we're doing more poppier stuff, and I really wanted the punch of that 10-inch tom.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want to interrupt the flow of like the 12-inch being my rack tom and the 16-inch. So I was like, well, instead of moving that 12-inch over, I'll just kind of shift the ride over only a little bit.
Right.
The 10-inch is so small, and I could just slot it in. So my simple explanation when I tell people, it's just a 4-piece setup with an accessory 10-inch tom.
Okay.
So that's the way I normally think about it. That 12-inch is my main squeeze, and then
so that 10 is almost an auxiliary, just to start off a fill or something with that high note.
exactly. But the added bonus is if I really want to do a fill down the drums, it forces my voicings to be a little bit more unique.
I was
You really
just
have to
about to say that.
articulate where you're going with your sticking.
Yeah,
Because
and
you have to go middle, top, bottom, which is very unorthodox, but
even going, high to low, you're not able to do, 4, 4, 4, and 4, which is kind of a square approach anyways, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna do, say, 16th note singles down the drums, you'd have to do 4 snare and then like 3 or 5 on the high tom
to come off the left hand. Yeah.
Yep. And then 3 or 5 on the 12, and then close it out on the floor tom. So it kind of forces
kind of sounds tight
to break it up out of the square zone,
Right on. And so I'm assuming that's kind of opened up your fill vocabulary a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely forced me to play things that I don't think I would have stumbled upon otherwise.
That's amazing.
Right on.
I know Jojo Mayer actually has he always has like a slightly different setup. I know since he had a Patreon, it seems like his setup is pretty static, but he used to have like an 8-inch tom right next to his floor tom.
That's right. Yeah, it was on the outside.
And I'm like, man, like the whole there's a song called Syncopath. If you just YouTube Syncopath, the stuff with his band Nerve is like,
he's literally like too good.
it's like what you were saying a few minutes ago. Like how do you have your own sound? How do you have your own brand? How are you not just a carbon copy of somebody else? And it's just like nobody drums like JoJo.
It's so true.
He's in his own element. It's just wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple more here. Biggest musical accomplishment and challenge since the start of the pandemic. So what are your highs and lows?
Highs and lows. I would say, obviously the lows was trying to figure out like what my lane is now that I can't play shows. Man, I had quite the summer booked. So excited, but
oh man.
Hopefully next summer. But no, I think honestly though, the pandemic has been kind of a sort of blessing in disguise in a lot of ways. This year 2020 in general has been more about learning the recording side of things rather than practicing drums, which is not entirely a bad thing. It's something that I've always wanted to get into, but I've always kind of made the excuse of I don't have enough time.
I think that's most of us, right? I know I've really invested a lot more time in recording. I know we were talking about that last time too.
Yeah, I literally just started maybe a couple months ago, and I'm still just scratching the surface there.
Oh, it's crazy. Just there's like no ceiling, you could just keep going forever. And
are you saying that as a good thing or
a little bit of both?
Okay.
I guess everyone says I'm a glutton for punishment, so
I think we're all masochists. Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier too. Overthinkers and masochistic and opinionated. It's like, do you play drums? or do you want to start? Because I think you're a perfect candidate for the job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it sounds like with the pandemic, it was the biggest accomplishment and the biggest challenge.
Yeah, and it was absolutely, and it was a lot of fun learning this stuff. And it's funny, I literally just stumbled upon a video I did in like June, and I was like, wow, I have gotten so much better since June. So that was a nice encouragement thing that I noticed.
It's like a practice log. That's
absolutely.
It should be in some form.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. So we got one more question here. Who is a drummer? If you had to pick the one drummer that has been just a major influence on you, if you only could pick one, And who is like a newer drummer that's popped on your radar that it has you intrigued right now?
Okay. Man, I can only pick one. Killing me with this.
I'm gonna guess, but I'm kicking myself for not writing it down before. But I'm gonna guess.
I don't know. Okay,
Don't say who they are, because
Okay.
I'm gonna guess the influence.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't think you'll guess it.
God damn it! All right, well, it's gonna be wrong, but I have at least I have it documented now. Now I'm not making it up. Oh, your ride symbol, blah blah blah. It's like, okay.
I mean, you probably won't be wrong in a lot of ways.
Okay.
But I usually say my all-time favorite drummer is Josh Freese. Oh, did you write it?
No way.
It says
I don't even believe you.
It says Josh Freese. Is it too blurry?
It's too blurry.
Yeah,
I can kind of make it out.
No, I don't believe you. I don't believe. No. Oh, there it is. I see it.
Yep.
You know what?
It won't focus on it.
I'm a little ashamed.
Oh, there it is. I know. I see it.
Can you see it?
I saw Josh at least. I believe
Josh Freese.
I'm a little ashamed that I'm so transparent. Dang it.
Oh man, I got you. I got you on lock.
Not a bad favorite drummer though. He is one of the most versatile drummers. He can play anything you throw at him.
Exactly.
I think versatile is just a crazy understatement, but yeah.
And but that's the thing that I've always strived for the most. Is I've always wanted to be the chameleon. Like my biggest fear was getting hired for gigs and being like, oh, we got the classical drummer playing rock tunes today, or the rock drummer playing classical music. That was always my nightmare. And Josh Freese doesn't go on tour with Sting and they're like, oh, the Nine Inch Nails drummer is touring with Sting this week. It's like, no, that dude is just killing it no matter what he's playing. And I totally admire that more than anything else on the drums.
Yeah, I'm in 100% agreement with you. I'm not even like playing like he. I mean, if you play with like Alanis Morissette and the Vandals and Nine Inch Nails and a Perfect Circle, like you've done the trifecta. You play with Maynard and you played with Trent and then you played with anyone. Like if you played with both of them, like who else has done that? I mean, not Alon Rubin hasn't done it.
Oh, I know.
Have you ever
it.
actually seen the list of his credits? It's like its own Wikipedia page.
Yeah, he even played with Devo.
Yeah,
yep.
I saw him
like toured with Devo, and I bet he was just so on point. But I'm sorry, we could do a whole podcast about Josh Freese, but a Perfect Circle, Mare de Noms, that is one of the most influential albums, and I still will put that drumming and his arrangements of his parts up against any other rock drummer, any other rock album after Steve Gadd. Steve Gadd cannot be a part of the conversation. I do not allow it. He is in his own element. That's fine.
That's fair.
Maybe him and Jeff Porcaro, they cannot be. Okay. After them, anything after them.
And Vinny, maybe, I guess, but
you cannot include Vinny either. He's in his own. But any other mainstream rock drummer is not going to touch Josh Freese. I'll stand by that.
I fully back that. I think Murder Gnomes in particular is a perfect drumming album.
Just absolutely sublime drumming.
Yeah. Unbelievable. And his style is like literally the way that he plays is.
Yeah, you have this. That is the snare hit. That is the snare hit. It's
got to do the around the head.
It's like he's combing his hair or something like that.
Yeah. I fully stole that from him. I do that all the time.
Oh man, that's so awesome.
Around the head.
I didn't even know that was Josh, but yeah, I watched a live DVD of him playing. What's that song? Pigs, March of the Pigs or whatever.
March of the Pigs.
Yeah,
that song is so insane, and I mean, just like they play that song for like 10 minutes straight. Strobe lights are going off. You got to play an odd time. Doom chat doom chat doom chat doom doom chat doom chat doom chat doom doom chat. You got to play that over and over and over again in all these cities and everything, and it's just like you got to play a whole show, and I just can't imagine just not collapsing.
My only complaint about Josh Freese is he's so good that every time I've seen the Vandals, they've had to fill in because he was busy with someone else.
That is true. Okay,
that is my only complaint about Josh Freese is I have not gotten to see him in the band.
He wasn't there. It's not even about him. It's the fact that you just haven't been able to see him, and you're upset.
Exactly.
I know exactly what you mean because that happened. Do you know the band? What was Luke Collins' band that he was in? The
Word Alive.
Word Alive, yeah. And the other drummer is phenomenal. I mean,
True.
he's his name's not Troy. What is his name?
I don't remember. Yeah.
Well, hopefully he won't watch this and be upset. But he's phenomenal. But when I went to see them in Arizona, I was like, oh, maybe Luke Collin will be there. And I saw the kit and I saw what looked like Meinl cymbals, but they were legato. And then not Luke came out, and I was like, oh. But he still crushed. I mean, that was great. But
Yeah.
I mean, just the opportunity to see somebody like that. But I think the other part of the question was the drummer on your radar.
Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Yes, man. There's a lot. I think the one who is really inspiring me at the moment is Mad in Class.
Okay.
Absolutely killing it on Instagram. I'm obsessed with her flow. I always joke that she's got the cleanest flans on Instagram. That's just she's got that like sort of laid back swing feel going, super clean chops. I really admire her playing a lot. Man, I only can pick one. This is tough.
She does not get in her own way in any sense of the word. Like,
really
I'm not familiar with the name. Who is it again? I want to look her up.
Well,
Mad in Class.
Mad in Class.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think she's like 18 or maybe even 17.
I think she's like, I think she might be closer to like 20, but still she's really young.
She looks incredibly young, but I mean, just like imagine what you were doing when you were 19. Because you to go all the way back, you said, oh, I don't know how old you are. In seventh grade, you're 13 or 14 years old, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So you're only 3 or 4 years away, and she got on the map by being on the Hit Like a Girl drum competition.
Oh, did she really? I didn't know that.
And she played a solo when she was like, I think that was when she was 15 or 16. So imagine like I'm in 8th grade, I'm crashing cymbals in the marching band, trying out for drumline. I don't know a quarter note from the fucking hole in the ground. and she's competing in drum competitions, and now has a gazillion followers, has a Meinl endorsement.
Mm-hmm.
She toured with Wheatus for a while. I mean, when she wasn't. I mean, she's still not even old enough to drink. So it's like, yeah, I definitely agree. Her feel, I think, is one of those things that you just can't teach that.
Absolutely.
And she came out of the womb with it.
Her taste is just well beyond her years. It's like, you're playing like you're like 50 years old. It's ridiculous.
Yep. She actually had a I didn't watch the whole thing, but she had an interview with Big Fat Snare Drum.
Yeah.
Their podcast, and that's when she was talking about Ash Sohn is one of her big influences. But yeah, I was like saying, it's like you want to be happy for people at the same time, part of you's like, like like man, when I'm 16, I mean, I wouldn't even be close to that level. Like to accomplish that, to already be like a master of the universe at her place in life is extremely respectable.
For sure. And like to bring up the age thing being frustrating sometimes, the ultimate ego blow for me was when Ilan Rubin joined 9 Inch Nails, which is my all-time favorite band, and we are literally like almost exactly the same age. And I was like, I quit drums. That's it.
Really?
Yeah, that he's young.
That's just a brittle spirit, though. I mean, if he was like 10 years younger, that might be like ego. But if he's like the same age, then whatever.
No, yeah, that's true. That's true.
He did some crazy shit. Did you see what he did at Drum Off? Like,
oh yeah,
10 years ago or whatever. He had this beat machine, and he just spent 5 minutes just making all these like really ambient, unorthodox noises until he had like 37 layers, and then he just started going absolutely fucking ham on like a little one up, one down Q company drum set, and just really, really simple setup. I'll never forget. He absolutely just murdered it. I mean, it was crazy.
Monster player.
Such an amazing musician. Absolutely.
100%.
His solos, have you heard him sing and play guitar?
Oh yeah, he's got his whole band that's just him.
He's a very accomplished guitar player. I mean, and got a beautiful voice. Yeah, I mean, he's like an all around. I don't really know anybody else in the music community that can do what he does it's like he's killing it on every level. Like
Yeah.
some people like sing and they can play guitar and they can play drums and stuff like that, but there's very few people that can do all of it really well.
He does it all with some proficiency.
He really does. Yeah, I don't know what's the name of the band, because I think they just came out with some new music recently.
The New Regime.
The New Regime, yeah, which is that's sick.
It's basically like him and Dave Grohl. That's the only two.
Dave Grohl is another. Yeah, he's another. Oh man, Foo Fighters concert, St. Louis.
Oh yes.
2015, I think. Oh my god.
Man, insane live band.
It's just like so. Like I don't want to be this big of a fan of a rock band, but like the experience on that show is definitely top. Like I hate to say top 3 because I've been to a shitload of shows, but I give Dave Grohl as a rock god. I mean
it's true. I would definitely say Foo Fighters is definitely in my top 3 live experiences as well.
And Taylor Hawkins,
basically mini Dave Grohl,
is a very respected drummer in the music community. Like people know if you get him in the studio, he's gonna deliver the goods 100%. Every time.
So good, man.
All right, I think that's about it. That's a wrap, right?
Well, I think so.
We're able to go over time.
Anything else you want to say, bring up, promote before we call it?
We're definitely going to put your the link to your Instagram in the description, so everybody go follow Eric, check out his stuff. My buddy the other day used the word didactic to describe a couple of videos that actually you humbly allowed me to basically rip off your practice pad videos, but I really like them and I wanted to do some form of them. But I do appreciate the didactic, the teachable component of your videos. So definitely for everybody watching, like if you want lessons or if you want like walkthroughs, comprehensive material, that sort of thing, go follow him. There's a ton of videos with that content.
Well, I mean, thank you for your kind words. It seriously means the world. And I really appreciate you guys reaching out and having me on here. This is
thank you for being on.
Exciting. And only episode 3?
Hell yeah. You were on the radar early, man.
Super honored. So it means a lot. It really does.
Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see everybody next week.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
Peace.